All right. It is Friday, September 30th, 2022. And from the home studio in Middletown, Delaware, I'm Marshal Manlove from My Sports Reports and Delaware Sports. This is a special interview edition of our program. We'll introduce our guest here in just a moment. Got a lot of things I'm trying to do here behind the scenes and in front of the camera at the same time. So let me see if I can make this work. It doesn't always work when I do this. Yeah, there it is. Yeah. This show is brought to you by me, Marshal Manlove, stage hypnotist. If you would like a funny, fascinating, and memorable experience for a party or an event that you are having, please consider my comedy hypnosis show. Find out all about that at marshalmanlove.com. And we'll give the show email address here. It's mysportsreports@gmail.com. And now I am going to, hopefully, when I press this next button, my guest will appear. It sometimes does not work when I do it. There it is. There's my guest. The athletic director from Delaware Military Academy, Jeanne. Welcome, sir. Thanks for making time to talk to us. Us. Who's us? Me. Talk with me. I know you're a busy man. All athletic directors are. And first of all, I want to just say that I think you're one of the more talented athletic directors in the state. I first met you might not even remember this, at Glasgow High when you took that job there and then transferred over to Delaware Military Academy. Not so long after that. How long were you at Glasgow, Jeremy?
Well, first, thank you for having me. I love the show. I'm trying to watch it every time you post a video. But to answer your question, I was at Glasgow High School for 10 years, as 9 years as an athletic director, but 10 years there as a teacher in the building.
And now, how long have you been at Delaware Military Academy?
I'm entering my fourth year at DMA.
So tell me something about yourself. Where are you from? What's your background before you took on these positions here in Delaware?
Yeah, so I was born and raised in Paris. I grew up playing soccer and playing basketball, fell in love with the game of basketball. Got a scholarship to go play for Goody Beacom College. And when I was in college, upon graduation, I signed with an agent and went overseas in my hometown in France and played for a few years. After a bad injury, I broke my fifth metatarsal. I was going to be out for like more than half the season. And my girlfriend at the time, who's my wife now, this long distance relationship was kind of hard. So we made the decision that perhaps it would be good for me to give up this wonderful, playing career that I had, get involved in education, and here I am now, so many years later, doing something that I absolutely love.
So talk about your job as an athletic director. I don't know that people really appreciate the amount of hours and the things that you have to do on a daily basis. So just kind of discuss that a little bit.
Yes, and I think I speak on behalf of all of my peers when I said that it's a very demanding job. All the stakeholders that we have to kind of like serve, from the teachers, the athletes, themselves, the students, the families, officials, and anyone, you name it. We have to kind of like be that point of contact for everyone. So from a scheduling standpoint to just dealing with day-to-day, issues that arise every day, it's a very demanding job. You have to be very organized, but I think sometimes we are not being appreciated enough. In some cases we are, but I think that all of my peers would say that if they could welcome one thing is extra time to get the job done the right way.
Yeah, athletic directors are usually the last person to leave the building every day, especially when there's a athletic contest of some sort.
Absolutely.
So what do you think are some of your most important challenges that you're handling there at Delaware Military Academy as the athletic director?
Well, I think that the inflation that we're dealing with has impacted our budget, and I think all of the schools as well. I think that what you've seen across the state lately and even across the nation with fan behaviors, not to say that our fans are not, behaving the right way, but, that's something that, you have to be consistently reminding, um, the family members, fans in general, that, there's an expectation that, we want to see good, sporting behavior at the game. So, and just in the continuous, education that you want to do with your athletes, it just never stops. Sometimes you see kids, they come freshman year and, they are willing to learn. And then, as they get older and older, junior, senior year, they feel like, sometimes they kind of like know it all, but, the growth and the learning process still continues. So, that's been a point of emphasis for us, educating our coaches as well. That's a big point of emphasis at DMS. So, but I would say right now the biggest thing is spectators, the behavior, being able to make sure that we provide a safe playing environment for our kids at all time, and dealing with budget issues.
Yeah, so I was going to talk about that. I know there was an incident at a DMA Howard game a few weeks ago, and then there was one pretty much in my backyard at Appoquinimink High. And I know your game was a night game. I'm not sure about the Appoquinimink game. That's probably a night game as well. And I know during basketball season now, we're not playing any night games. Is this going to happen here in football, do you think?
Who knows? You see a lot of schools now who are like making changes to their like policies in terms of what the attendance is going to look like in the next from now until further notice. I know that we have seen some games being moved. We moved our game this week to a 5 o'clock start, just because we just want to make sure that we just want to be proactive. So I don't know what the future holds, but I do know that right now everyone is working together in making sure that we don't see any issues like we've seen in the last couple of weeks. As far as like what will happen in the future, I like to say that we want to see Friday night lights and not Friday night fight. So hopefully, the community, the athletes, the coaches, everyone comes together and understand that all we want to see is kids being able to participate in athletics and in a safe and fun way.
Yeah, so these particular incidents, I mean, it's two, but they happen in a short period of time. So it sounds almost like an epidemic, even though it's only two. Uh, and we want to, of course, avoid this as much as possible. Impossible to shut down everything like that. But what are you hearing from around the country about incidents at football games or any other kind of contest that is taking place?
Well, I just read online. I see the news, and I see that in Maryland they've had issues. I see that in Philadelphia they've had issues. I believe it was in the state of don't quote me on that. Maybe Georgia, Texas, they had some issues, and so some state association are like kind of like banning Friday night games, and others are like limiting the amount of spectators that are coming to the venues for the games. So I think it's a concern for athletic directors and school administrators across the country. But it's nothing new. Issues sometimes happens. Me personally, when I look at the last couple of issues that we've had in our states, I also don't want people to think that that's the norm. I think that there's a lot of situations where like you have games with no issues at all, and schools are doing everything they can to put like the proper systems and protocols in place to offer a safe environment for everyone involved in those games. So stuff happens, and when that happens, it kind of like alarms everyone. But if we have had two incidents thus far this year, out of God knows how many games that have been played, two is too many. But it's also like it's not so bad, I guess, in a way. So, but you just don't want to see anyone getting hurt ever. So, it's a concern across the country. People are like taking measures, and all you can do is continue to work together and to make things better.
Right. I think part of the problem is that any incident is intensified because of the social media access that everybody has, and everything kind of gets blown up. That's it's not just in sports; it's in anything. Uh, with a 24/7 news cycle, just people need stuff to talk about, and things do kind of get blown out of proportion sometimes. But how do you think? And you're at work and you're representing your school, so feel free to monitor or filter how you say this as much as you want. But how do you think? What do you think that we as adults in our community can do to help ward off some of these issues?
Talk about it, lead by example, and really keep in mind that everything that we do in our profession in education is for the kids. So as long as we keep the kids in mind in our decision making and in our actions, I think people will come to realize that some of the unfortunate things that took place in the last few weeks probably will stop. I think in our society, people sometimes are like impulsive. I think that coming out of COVID, and it's still going on, but coming out of the pandemic, and with perhaps like the economy right now, you don't know what people are dealing with, and I feel like sometimes some people may be angry, and so I'm not sure, but I think that the best you can do is talk about it. When we had our game at Howard, and I want to mention that it was no fault to Howard, it was no fault to DMA. It
Mm-hmm.
just it just happened. It's you just deal with it. So all we were able to do was to go back to our school, and I'm speaking for myself right now, and kind of like take a look at our practices and see if an incident like this was to happen at DMA, how we would react to it, and go over like our emergency action plan. So that's all you can do is talk about it, and really like think about like what is it that we're doing our job for, and we're doing it for the kids. So keep that in mind.
Yep, well said. So, talk about some of the positive experiences that you've had over the last few years. Some of the athletes who have stood out in your mind and their accomplishments, and talk about some of the names of some kids that we should be watching for in box scores and at games that we attend to.
In terms of statewide, or are you talking about
Yeah, your
Delaware Military?
school. We'll talk about your school.
Sure.
Your school, yeah.
Well, I kind of like hate, personally, like, just mentioning just a few names, just
Mm-hmm.
because we have, I like to spread the love, for lack of a better word. And, I think that we have a lot of talented, athletes at our school. But obviously, we have our pitcher, Tyler August, who is going to be a senior this year. He was named last year the player of the year as a junior. He's a very talented player, and he committed to University of Delaware, and there's a big chance that he would get drafted. So we expect a lot out of him. He's a great kid. He's very humble, works hard, comes from a good family, and he's got good grades as well. So he's got all the tools to be extremely successful in life. And in my 4 years at DMA, I mean, we've seen a lot of great athletes. A couple of years ago, we had Grayson Frost, a softball player who graduated from DMA. She ended up going to UD. She's pitching there. She's doing well. I know some of the athletes before my time. Colin Smith, I think his name is, who's playing right now baseball at the Naval Academy. We had Tyler Hill, a baseball player as well, who I think a year ago was playing for the Blue Rocks. So it's not just for me, to be completely honest. Like, when I define success, I don't just define success by wins and losses. It's just like seeing the growth that these kids are going through from a mental and emotional standpoint sometimes. So we're very fortunate, at our school to have the support of our families, and it's a lot of very successful kids that we have. They embrace the work, so it's just it's beautiful to watch.
All right. So when people go to, this is kind of off the out of the box question here. When people go to a DMA game, and whatever game it is, volleyball, football, or something like that, where would you recommend that they go to eat, like before or after a game there? So somebody wants to go watch because your volleyball team's undefeated right now, and you got a big game coming up with Newark Charter here in a little bit. I'll be there for that one. And so if it's got some fans that want to go there ahead of time, where should they hang out? Where do the Seahawks hang out before or after a game there?
The kids like to go to Price's Corner, and they go to Chick-fil-A a lot. So I guess it's always like a quick, easy place to get some food. I know we have some people that go to Dom's. It's a little pizza place in Newport. Seasons Pizza was right there on Maryland Avenue. I like to go to Piranha Bread, which is not too far from the school. I just like the food that they have there. And you can surely, like, if you have time, you can go to the riverfront, which is nearby, and go to some of these restaurants that's there. So it's depends if you want something quick on that. But yeah, there's a lot of places around that you can go grab some food.
So what are some of the key rivalries that the Seahawks get themselves up for in any of the sports throughout the year? Which ones do you look forward to?
Well, obviously, anytime you play a team in your conference, Archme has been a very, very good, athletic program, very successful. So we're always trying to, like, measure ourselves against them in a lot of sports. So I know our kids get up for these kind of games. Conrad, who's down the street from us, there's like this famous like Battle of Boxwood that kids from both schools love. So they love to compete in that regard. And then I think that a little rivalry has developed over the years with St. Mark's, who's a very good athletic program as well. So it seems like our kids love to compete against them. So these are like great games. The atmosphere is always electric. Like a volleyball game this next Monday, we're going to St. Mark's, who is talking about like probably the best. I know they are the best, volleyball program in our state, but they've been so dominant in the last few years. So I imagine that the atmosphere in that gym is going to be electric. I'm sure our kids would travel and go there. So I would say Archmere, Conrad, and St. Mark's that have been I don't know if they're rivals, but they've been good games for sure.
Well, your new volleyball coach over there, Nikki Kinnear, was a St. Mark's player
Yes,
too, so that adds a little excitement to the
she's excited about
understory.
the game for sure.
Yeah. So she learned from one of the best, and she's helping guide your still undefeated there, I believe, right? So she's off to a great start as coach there.
It would be great to see like the prodigy kind of like defeat like the coach type thing.
Yeah.
Like if Nikki was able to get her team to beat St. Mark's on Monday, I think it would be good. And I even think that Nancy over at St. Mark's, who's an amazing coach, while I'm sure she doesn't want to lose, but she probably would have like a sense of pride a little bit if she was to lose to Nikki, because obviously she taught Nikki everything that Nikki knows now. So
Right.
it's pretty cool. It's a cool story.
Yeah, that'll be a fun night for sure for volleyball fans. So fill in the blanks for me. Anything I'm missing of importance that you want to talk about? It could be something personal, something about your school, anything of the sort.
Yes, well, our school as I applied for an award this last year, which is called the Quality Program Award. And what it is to go through the NIAAA, which stands for the National Interscholastic Athletic Administrators Association. So every athletic director in the country is part of this association. And that association, what they do is they provide professional development for ADs across the country. And so every year there's the national convention in December. This year it's going to take place in Nashville, Tennessee. So they have this program, and what it is kind of like a benchmark where you can see where you are. There's like 10 different categories: risk management, sports medicine, mentoring, like and others. And so you're trying to assess your program, and so there's different evidence that you have to submit to show that you excel in these categories. And so you have to score like a minimum of 80% in each of the categories listed. And so we went through that process last year. It was a year-long process in collecting evidence, and really, to be honest, it was great for us because in thinking about sports medicine, there was areas where we were lacking. So we have improved in that regard, and which is good. So, but all that to say, we submitted the application this last July or August. I think we were just made aware that we won this national award. So which is great, but it's not to say that we're perfect. We still want to grow, and so now that we have guidelines, we can continuously reflect on our practices. So that's something that I'm very, very proud of. Probably my biggest accomplishment as an athletic director. But this is an award that I think is a testament of the work that's done by the coaches, the support of the parents, who has been extremely amazing. We're a small school, but the community is huge. DMA is a great place to be. There's a whole lot of good schools in our state, a whole lot of good, athletic programs. I have a lot of respect for all of my peers as athletic directors because I know they work as hard as I do. But it's something special happening at DMA that I'm very proud of, and winning this award being one of them.
Yeah, congratulations on that. I remember talking about that when I saw the release come through, and that's fantastic. It is a testimony to your hard work and the community's work there, and everybody else involved, the coaches, even the athletes and the administration as well. All right.
We do have another program that I think is worthy of mentioning. COVID kind of like made us stop. But it's back in running. We have a program called DMA Cares. So I'm a huge basketball fan, and watching the NBA. I know they have something called NBA Cares. So that's where we get the idea from. A program that I ran when I was at Glasgow, and so we get our student athletes to participate in a lot of community service events throughout the course of the year. So every season they have to kind of like participate in one. And so on next Tuesday, actually, we have our first one, where we're taking student athletes to different elementary schools, and they're going to read books to kids with a disability and serve as like mentors to them. The goal would be to go to the veteran hospital in a winter and spend time with the veterans and trying to make blankets for them and read books to them. And then in the spring, we're hoping to host on campus an egg hunt, for kids with a disability and bring them on campus and have our kids, kind of like the Best Buddy program that they do with the DRFRC. So I'm very proud of that program. It's good to see our kids out there in the community, serve as leaders as well. They learn a lot through that. So it's a great program that we have.
Well, you are certainly an important part of our athletic community here. Definitely a talented individual, and I'm sure you are enriching a lot of people's lives along the way. And I am glad that you were able to take some time out of your busy day to come talk with me. I know you just getting over being sick too. I'm glad you're feeling better.
Getting there, yes.
As well. All right. So again, this is Jeremy Jeanne, the athletic director from Delaware Military Academy, who took some time out of his busy schedule to come talk with us here at My Sports Reports in Delaware Sports. Jeremy, thank you very much again for stopping by, and I will see you in person, I think, at the Newark Charter Volleyball game here in a couple of weeks. And continued success to you and everybody else at DMA. And say goodbye. I'm gonna when you do, I'm gonna click end, and unfortunately, you will be off the screen. But I hope that you have a wonderful day and continued success to you.
Well, I appreciate it. Thank you for having me, and congratulations on your show. It's growing, and I know our kids are watching it, our coaches as well. I'm sure the parents do too. So thank you for having me. Thank you for everything that you do, showcasing and promoting, Delaware athletics throughout the state. It's sincerely appreciated, and I apologize for being a little sick. So hopefully, the fact that I already have an accent, hopefully you could clearly understand everything that I was saying. So again, thank you for having me, and it was a pleasure.
I'm actually learning French with my wife, but for some reason now I'm intimidated to try to say anything because as somebody who actually speaks French, I would just embarrass myself.
Well, you should try. I'm the best teacher you could get.
Oui, that's all I have for you.
What did you say? I'm sorry.
Oui.
That's great. That's great. That's the best word to learn. Oui,
Yeah.
oui.
Bonne journée.
Bonjour.
Take great care. I'll see you soon.
Thank you. Bye bye.
All right. All right. So that was Jeremy Jeanne, the athletic director from Delaware Military Academy. Credit to his school. He's a wonderful guy. Really does a great job. If you spend any time just kind of observing what goes on in the daily activities of a athletic director, you would be amazed, I would think, the work that they do. It is really unbelievable. Special thanks to Jazzercise in Middletown, 24 North Broad Street in Middletown. One of the proprietors there runs a very active Facebook group page for parents of Delaware High School athletes, and they are kind enough to post up links to these videos that we produce there. So let's see. All right, I'm just trying to think. There was something important I had to say. It's rare that I actually have something important to say, and when I actually came up with it, I forgot it. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, my name is Marshal Manlove. Now, from the home studio in Middletown, Delaware, I